There's a reason your energy doesn't lie. It's not what you say that defines you. It's what you radiate, your focus, your presence, your discipline. That's what people feel, and that's what shapes your life. Energy isn't random. It's a reflection of what you allow, of what you believe, of what you tolerate. And if you don't learn to master it, you'll always be at the mercy of everyone and everything around you. This is not about hype. This is about power. Because winners aren't just productive, they're protective of their energy, of their attention, of their time. They don't give their best to what drains them. They reserve it for what builds them. That's the difference. So if you've ever felt exhausted, unfocused, burnt out, or stuck, this isn't just a mindset shift. It's a life shift. Welcome to the truth. This is how you master your energy and change everything. Energy is the currency of achievement. And just like money, if you don't manage it, you'll waste it. On arguments that don't matter. On opinions that don't pay you. On distractions that destroy momentum. Winners get this. That's why they audit their inputs. They're not passive consumers, they're intentional creators. They wake up with purpose. They don't scroll to escape. They study to evolve. They don't say yes to everything, they say yes to alignment. Because everything you say yes to is something else you're saying no to. And when you stop protecting your energy, you start betraying your potential. So here's the truth. If you want to build something powerful, you need boundaries that protect it. That means cutting noise. That means ignoring drama. That means being unavailable to what drains you. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're aware that your future depends on what you tolerate. You don't get high energy by accident. You build it with intention. Every choice you make either charges you or drains you. Every habit you keep either sharpens your fire or puts it out. It's not about being busy. It's about being aligned. Winners don't wake up and react. They wake up and decide what matters, who matters, where their attention goes. They know that the first hour sets the tone for the rest. So they guard it. No chaos, no comparison, no junk food for the brain. Instead, they feed their mind. They breathe in stillness. They move their body. They command their direction. Because how you start determines how you finish. And if you don't command your energy in the morning, the world will hijack it by noon. Energy mastery isn't just about speed. It's about depth. It's not how fast you move, it's how present you are. Because presence multiplies power. Most people don't lose energy from action. They lose it from noise. Mental clutter, open loops, unfinished conversations in their heads. That's why winners don't just hustle. They clear. They remove what's unresolved. They journal. They reflect. They finish what's pending. Because every open loop is an energy leak. And you can't elevate your life with a drained battery. So start closing loops. Start finishing things. Start saying no without guilt. And above all, start practicing stillness. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. Every day you have a choice. To react or to create. To chase or to build. To survive or to expand. Your energy follows your intention. And your intention must be trained. Winners don't hope for great energy. They engineer it. With what they eat. With who they speak to. With what they listen to. With how they breathe. They don't wait for the environment to be perfect. They create the environment. Because energy isn't about luck, it's about lifestyle. What you repeat becomes who you are. And if you repeat low energy habits, you'll live a low energy life. But if you build high energy rituals, you'll move through life like a force. Not a victim of circumstances, but a master of response. Be careful who you let close. Not everyone deserves your frequency. Some people subtract without speaking. Their energy alone is draining. Their mindset is heavy. Their presence chaotic. Winners aren't afraid to walk away. Not from hate, but from heaviness. Because they understand this. Peace is power. And there's nothing noble about staying where you shrink. So take inventory. Who elevates you? Who drains you? Who sharpens your fire? And who puts it out? This isn't judgment. It's alignment. The people around you either reinforce your discipline or tempt your destruction. Choose wisely. Because proximity is power. Energy mastery is emotional mastery. You can't have a powerful life with weak emotions. You can't lead with resentment and expect peace. You can't build with envy and expect clarity. Winners face themselves. They don't escape into distraction, they confront. They ask hard questions. They process what hurts. They own their story. Because avoiding emotion doesn't protect your energy, it poisons it. So they journal, they reflect, they meditate, they sharpen their self-awareness like a weapon. Because the more you understand yourself, the less control the world has over you. And when life gets hard, and it will, they don't collapse. They channel. They turn pain into fuel, anger into action, uncertainty into growth. That's mastery. The body holds the mind. And movement unlocks momentum. Winners move daily, not just for fitness, but for focus. Because motion clears mental fog. It reclaims power from stress. It resets your chemistry. And you don't need a gym. You need a decision. 10 minutes of intention beats hours of distraction. A short walk in silence. A few deep breaths with your eyes closed. A journal entry before bed. These small acts reset your energy. They build control. And control is the foundation of greatness. Because when you control your state, you control your results. And when you lose that control, you give your future to chance. So train yourself, not just to act, but to recover, to regulate, to protect. That's what makes energy sustainable. You'll never master your energy if you're unclear about your direction. Clarity is magnetic. It pulls your energy into alignment. But confusion is expensive. It divides your focus. It scatters your attention. It drains your momentum. Winners don't need to know every step. They just need to be clear on the next one. So they set targets. They review their vision daily. They remind themselves why they started. They don't drift, they drive. With intention, with design, with fire. Because when you know where you're going, distractions lose their appeal. And energy becomes concentrated like a laser. Not spread thin, but sharp. Precise. Powerful. And that's when transformation happens. Discipline is energy in motion. It's what turns potential into power. Ideas into action. Dreams into results. Most people wait for motivation. But winners, they act without it. Because they know this truth. Motion creates emotion. They don't wait to feel ready, they move until they are. They don't negotiate with excuses, they execute anyway. Because every time you choose discipline over comfort, you raise your standard. You increase your capacity. You multiply your energy. Discipline isn't restriction. It's freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from regret. Freedom from living beneath your purpose. So build it. Daily. Repeatedly. Relentlessly. That's how you shift your energy from scattered to unstoppable. Energy without direction is wasted. But energy with purpose, that's legacy. Winners don't just chase goals, they pursue meaning. They aren't driven by applause, they're anchored in impact. Every action they take is connected to something deeper, to their values, to their mission, to the people counting on them. That's why they don't burn out. Because their fire isn't external, it's internal. They're not just working hard, they're working aligned. And alignment is energizing. When you know your why, you stop asking, how much longer? You start asking, how far can I go? Purpose gives pain a reason. It gives setbacks a place. It gives energy a mission. And that's when life becomes powerful. Your energy mirrors your identity. You'll never act consistently in a way that's inconsistent with how you see yourself. That's why winners upgrade their self-image. Not just by affirmations, but by action. They keep promises to themselves. They show up even when it's inconvenient. They do hard things and then remind themselves who they are. Because confidence isn't built in comfort. It's built in follow-through. And when your identity shifts, your energy shifts with it. You no longer tolerate low standards. You no longer settle for the old story. You start moving from conviction, not convenience. You rise not because it's easy, but because you no longer identify with smallness. That's energetic transformation from the inside out. You can't master your energy in a space that constantly depletes it. Your environment matters. The visuals, the sounds, the order, or the chaos. Winners design spaces that inspire action. They eliminate friction. They remove clutter. They curate what enters their field. Because everything around you is either fueling your focus or fighting it. They set up reminders of their goals. They play audio that sharpens their edge. They remove triggers that lead to distraction. Their environment is an ally, not an enemy. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You fall to the level of your systems. So build systems that support your energy, that make excellence easier, that make discipline automatic. That's how consistency becomes effortless. Mastering your energy isn't just about output. It's about recovery. Even the strongest engines overheat without rest. Even the brightest lights fade without recharging. Winners rest with intention. They don't collapse into distraction. They retreat into regeneration. They sleep with a purpose. They schedule silence. They unplug to reconnect. Because burnout isn't a badge of honor, it's a warning sign. You can't give your best when you're constantly depleted. You can't inspire others when you've abandoned yourself. So protect your sleep like a ritual. Protect your evenings like a temple. Wind down. Shut off. Breathe. Stillness isn't laziness, it's leadership. Because it takes strength to pause and power to be still. Your energy responds to your language. Not just what you say out loud, but what you whisper to yourself in silence. Winners are masters of internal dialogue. They don't bully themselves. They coach themselves. They replace "I can't" with "How can I?" They replace "I'm tired" with "I'm building." They replace "It's hard" with "It's shaping me." Because words shape reality, and repeated words become beliefs. Your nervous system listens. Your subconscious records. Your cells respond. So speak life into your day. Speak strength into your path. Speak vision into your decisions. You are always influencing yourself. Make it powerful. Energy is direction. Where your focus goes, your power flows. So protect it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Winners aren't distracted. They're decisive. They don't entertain every notification. They don't scroll endlessly into oblivion. They don't start 10 things and finish none. They do less but better. They cut noise. They create boundaries. They prioritize depth over speed. Because they know this. A scattered mind is a slow mind. But a focused mind? That's a weapon. And you don't need more time. You need fewer leaks. So track your distractions. Audit your attention. Eliminate the leaks. And you'll find more energy than you thought you had. Energy is created in decision. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you activate a higher version of yourself. Winners don't avoid fear. They walk through it. Because they know energy expands in action. The moment you decide, truly decide, your energy changes. Your posture shifts. Your presence deepens. No more hesitation. No more half efforts. No more waiting for perfect. They take the step. They make the call. They move forward. And that movement creates energy. It builds trust in self. It multiplies momentum. So if you feel stuck, choose. Clarity lives on the other side of courage. There's power in being fully you. Winners don't perform. They express. They live aligned, not approved. Because pretending is exhausting. And authenticity? That's energizing. When your actions match your values, you stop leaking energy into impressions. You stop bending to please. You stop living for likes. You speak truth. You say no. You build from center. And that inner alignment radiates power. People feel it. Rooms shift when you walk in. Not because you try, but because you're true. Authenticity isn't a trend, it's a force. The more real you are, the more energy you unlock. Your future isn't built in a day. It's built in repetition. Every habit you keep is casting a vote for the kind of energy you carry and the kind of person you become. Winners know this. Habits aren't just actions, they're identity anchors. You don't meditate to check a box. You do it to become someone calm under pressure. You don't work out to hit a number. You do it to become someone who doesn't break. You don't journal to fill pages. You do it to become someone who sees with clarity. Your habits aren't random. They're programming your nervous system. So choose wisely, because you don't get the life you want. You get the one you prepare for. And energy always follows identity. Mastering energy means mastering presence, because power doesn't live in the past, and it doesn't wait in the future. It exists only now. Winners live here in this breath, this task, this step. They aren't scattered in regrets. They aren't anxious about what's next. They bring full attention to the moment, because that's where transformation begins. They listen deeply. They move with intention. They feel their thoughts and still choose action. Presence sharpens instinct. It deepens connection. It unlocks the flow state where energy is infinite. So breathe. Come back to now and give this moment everything, because life is only ever lived here. Energy contracts in scarcity and expands in abundance. Winners operate from fullness, not lack. They don't cling. They contribute. They don't fear losing. They focus on creating. Because when your mindset is abundant, you stop chasing validation. You start building value. You don't compete, you elevate. You don't envy, you celebrate. You don't hoard, you multiply. This shift rewires your energy from defensive to expansive, from survival to service, from fear to freedom. And the paradox is, the more you give, the more you have. Abundance isn't about money. It's about how you move, and that movement generates power. The loudest energy isn't always the most powerful. Sometimes, it's the quiet consistency that leaves the deepest legacy. Winners don't need applause to stay committed. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They move in silence. They build when no one's watching, because they're not addicted to attention. They're addicted to alignment. They don't post every step. They live it. They don't perform hustle. They embody it. And that quiet discipline, that's what echoes for decades. While others chase hype, they chase mastery. While others peak early, they rise slow and last long. Because the strongest energy isn't always loud. It's consistent. Gratitude is an amplifier. Winners don't wait for everything to be perfect to feel full. They train their minds to see abundance, even in adversity. Because what you appreciate appreciates. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you grow from a place of overflow, not emptiness. You're not chasing success to feel worthy. You're building because you already are. This frequency, it's magnetic. It draws better thoughts. It attracts stronger relationships. It multiplies resilience. You don't lose energy when you're grateful. You generate more of it. Because gratitude shifts your chemistry. It realigns your nervous system. It opens your eyes to power you already have. Every breath is a miracle. Every step is a gift. And that awareness, that's energy. Not all progress is visible, and not all energy is loud. Winners understand the power of compounding. They stay committed even when there's no applause. Because they know this. Mastery is invisible before it's undeniable. They don't confuse silence with stagnation. They don't confuse rest with weakness. They don't confuse slow days with lost purpose. They trust the roots before the fruit. They keep going, especially when it's quiet. They stay sharp in the shadows. And that patience? It's not passive, it's aggressive. Aggressive patience means you keep planting, keep sharpening, keep rising, even when no one sees. Because eventually, that hidden energy erupts, and the world wonders where you came from. But you know, you've been building in the dark all along. Real power isn't loud, it's calm. Winners aren't the ones yelling in the storm. They're the ones standing still. Because energy isn't just intensity, it's control. The ability to breathe when others panic. To respond instead of react. To anchor while the world spins. This isn't weakness, it's weaponized awareness. You master your energy. When you refuse to be pulled by everything, when you remain unmoved by noise, when your inner world dictates your outer response, stillness is strategy. Silence is strength. Calm is clarity. The world doesn't need more chaos. It needs more composed fire. And that fire burns quiet, but it never dies. Your body is your first instrument of power, and energy mastery begins by listening to it. Winners treat their body like a sacred tool, not an afterthought. Because how you move is how you think. How you breathe is how you perform. How you rest is how you rise. They hydrate. They stretch. They sleep with intention. They train not just for strength, but for clarity. Because physical intelligence sharpens mental excellence. You can't pour from a burned out system. You can't lead from a fatigued posture. You can't build from depletion. The sharper the body, the cleaner the mind. The cleaner the mind, the higher the energy. So fuel wisely. Train deliberately. Recover fiercely. Because your energy starts at the cellular level. Words shape energy. And the language you use internally becomes the world you walk externally. Winners don't just speak positively, they speak precisely. They don't say, "I'm tired." They say, "I'm recharging." They don't say, "I'm overwhelmed." They say, "I'm expanding." They don't say, "This is hard." They say, "This is sharpening me." Because energy follows meaning, and meaning is constructed by language. Your inner dialogue isn't background noise. It's the blueprint for behavior. So upgrade your vocabulary. Speak with power. Name your season, and then rise to it. You're not stuck. You're being stretched. You're not failing. You're being forged. You're not breaking. You're becoming. Master your words, and you master your world. Your environment is not neutral. It's either fueling your energy or draining it. Winners curate their spaces like sacred ground. They don't tolerate clutter physically or mentally. They design for clarity. They optimize for flow. Your room isn't just decor, it's direction. Your music isn't just background, it's programming. Your circle isn't just company, it's calibration. What surrounds you becomes what drives you. So choose with intention. Guard your space like you guard your mind. Let go of what dulls your fire. Because energy isn't just about hustle, it's about harmony. And your environment? It's either your anchor or your engine. Build spaces that charge you. Energy leaks in indecision, and power multiplies in clarity. Winners move with decisiveness, not because they have all the answers, but because they trust their alignment. They know this. Every decision is a direction, and every choice either drains or drives. You don't need perfect information. You need inner congruence. Does it match your mission? Does it respect your energy? Does it reflect your standards? If not, it's a no, because clarity conserves energy, and purpose protects it. When your decisions are aligned, you stop second-guessing. You stop over-explaining. You stop wasting emotional bandwidth. Your yes means yes. Your no means no. And your focus becomes a force field. This is energy mastery, living with bold alignment. Complexity drains. Simplicity sustains. Winners aren't trying to do everything. They're mastering a few things deeply. Because energy isn't just what you add. It's what you remove. Distractions, drama, doubt, gone. They cut the noise. They trim the excess. They return to the essential. This isn't minimalism, it's mental sovereignty. They focus on what moves the needle. They give full power to few things, instead of giving scattered effort to many, because diluted focus is diluted energy, and a scattered mind can't build solid outcomes. So simplify. Focus fiercely. Protect your attention like your oxygen, because it is. You can't fake energy, not for long, because energy flows from identity. Winners don't just act the part, they become it. They don't perform discipline, they are disciplined. They don't mimic confidence. They build it from earned effort. This isn't about pretending. It's about aligning who you say you are, who you believe you are, and how you act when no one's watching. Must become one. That internal coherence, that's power. It removes friction. It silences self-sabotage. It frees your energy to flow where it matters, because nothing drains you faster than living out of alignment. But when you're congruent, you move clean. You lead clear. You build fast. This is the core of energy mastery. Integrity of self. Energy rewards the consistent, not the occasional. Winners don't rely on motivation, they rely on rhythm. Because discipline isn't something they turn on. It's something they embody. They don't negotiate with resistance. They don't wait to feel like it. They move especially when it's inconvenient, because they've trained their system to perform regardless of mood. This consistency compounds in skill, in confidence, in identity, and soon, what once drained you now fuels you. You're not pushing anymore. You're pulled by who you've become, because when you stack the right reps, energy becomes effortless, and your consistency becomes your advantage. Energy mastery isn't about short bursts. It's about sustainable intensity. Winners think in decades. They don't panic over dips. They zoom out. Because when your vision is long, your energy stays calm. You stop rushing results. You start respecting the process. You realize greatness is built in layers. Each day a brick. Each effort a vote. Each moment of discipline another beam in your foundation. And while others burn out chasing spikes, you rise slow, steady, unshakable, because you're not here to impress. You're here to endure, to lead, to build a life that lasts. And that kind of energy, it outlives hype. It outperforms noise. It outlasts everything. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond. And that choice, that's energy. Winners don't give emotional access to chaos. They regulate. They redirect. They own their state. Because when you let others decide how you feel, you hand over your power. They don't let critics decide their confidence. They don't let delays decide their direction. They don't let setbacks decide their self-worth. Emotional sovereignty is power. The ability to feel, but not fold. To notice, but not react. To experience and still execute. You don't need to suppress. You need to command. Feel it, but don't become it. Process it, then move with precision. Because uncontrolled emotions leak energy, but mastered emotions create momentum. You can't master your energy while living someone else's script. Winners don't conform, they calibrate. They don't perform, they embody. They don't chase validation, they live in alignment. Because the fastest way to lose power is to abandon your own voice. They choose paths that light them up, not just impress others. They build lives that feel good inside, not just look good outside. Authenticity isn't just a virtue, it's voltage. It energizes. It amplifies. It liberates. You don't need to be louder, just more you. You don't need more approval, just more alignment. Because the more you become yourself, the less permission you need, and the more power you radiate. Be real. Be rooted. Be relentless. That's energy. That's freedom. Your energy doesn't live in the past. It doesn't wait in the future. It ignites in the now. Winners don't drift, they direct. They don't scroll through moments, they seize them. They don't dilute attention, they deepen it. Because the present isn't just where you exist, it's where you expand. They breathe with intention. They act with urgency. They listen with depth. Presence is their performance enhancer. It sharpens execution. It amplifies intuition. It fuels creativity. The more you're here, the more energy you unlock. So stop multitasking your purpose. Stop outsourcing your awareness. Stop sleeping through your greatness. Be here, fully, because presence is power, and power is now. Energy isn't just physical, it's spiritual. Winners don't separate their mission from their meaning. They don't just chase success, they seek significance. Because energy expands when it's tied to something beyond self. They serve. They elevate. They build with reverence. This isn't religion, it's resonance. A deeper frequency. A connection to something timeless. They don't just wake up for goals. They wake up for people, for purpose, for contribution, because energy multiplies. When it's not just about you, legacy creates stamina, service creates strength, alignment with something greater, it creates energy that doesn't expire. So build with spirit, lead with heart, anchor in meaning. That's renewable energy. Energy that ends with you is limited. Energy that echoes through others is legacy. Winners build beyond themselves. They mentor, they model, they multiply. Because power isn't hoarded, it's passed. And influence isn't domination, it's inspiration. They don't just ask, "What can I get?" They ask, "What will I leave?" Their presence leaves people clearer. Their words spark motion. Their actions create ripples they'll never see but still choose to make. This is energy on a higher level. Beyond success, beyond applause, into legacy. You don't need a stage, just a standard. You don't need a spotlight, just integrity. Build something that breathes when you're gone. Live in a way that charges others. That's energy that outlives you. That's how legends lead. Gratitude isn't weakness, it's weaponry. A mindset of lack drains you. A mindset of abundance empowers you. Winners don't just practice gratitude when things go right. They live it, especially when it's hard. Because gratitude isn't just a response, it's a discipline. They find the gift in discomfort. They see lessons in delays. They extract gold from every grind. And that perspective, it keeps their energy pure. It shields them from bitterness. It grounds them in strength. Gratitude doesn't mean complacency. It means clarity. It means anchoring in what's working, so you can build what's missing. This isn't soft, it's strategic. A heart tuned to gratitude can handle any battlefield. Be thankful. Be powerful. They're the same thing. In the end, mastering your energy is mastering yourself. Winners don't just rise early. They rise above excuses. They rise above noise. They rise above average. Because energy isn't a gift, it's forged. Forged in the reps no one sees. In the choices no one claps for. In the battles you fight when no one's watching. They don't chase hype. They chase harmony. They don't mimic others. They master themselves. They don't collapse under chaos. They create clarity through it. This is more than performance. It's personal evolution. Each act of discipline, self-respect. Each moment of alignment, self-expression. Each ounce of energy mastered, self-ownership. This is the way of the few, the path of the powerful, the mindset of the masters. And now it's yours. Own it. Live it. Lead with it. Energy isn't something you chase, it's something you become. It's not about being busy. It's about being bold. Not about movement, but meaning. Not about noise, but depth. This life, it's calling you to rise, to refine your power, to command your energy, because every choice you make is either leaking power or compounding it. Decide today to build momentum that doesn't fade, to speak with clarity, to act with conviction, to live with intention. No more dimming your voltage. No more shrinking your fire. No more waiting for permission. Your energy is your message. Let it be unmistakable. Build it. Protect it. Live it loudly. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people fully alive. Energy, in the end, isn't about how loud you are. It's about how aligned you are. It's not about force, it's about flow. It's not about burnout, it's about becoming. And who you become, that's the true victory. Not the titles, not the trophies, but the self you forged when no one was clapping, when no one believed, when only you knew what was coming. That's what energy creates. A new identity, a higher standard, a deeper truth. So step forward, not just with fire, but with foundation, not just with motion, but with mastery. This is your time, not to prove, but to embody, not to compete, but to create, not to impress, but to impact. Become the person your energy has been waiting for. This isn't about hype, it's about harnessing, about taking the chaos and converting it into clarity. Every day you decide, drift or drive, react or rise, consume or create. Your energy is the edge. Your focus is the weapon. Your purpose is the fire. And now you've got all three. So go. Move with rhythm. Speak with power. Serve with purpose. Let your life be the loudest proof. That energy, when mastered, doesn't just change outcomes. It changes you. Because this isn't theory. This is a transmission, a transformation, a turning point. You don't need more time. You need more truth. Own your energy, unleash your mission, and let the world feel what alignment really looks like. You were never meant to run on empty. You were built to radiate, to channel, to charge the world through your presence. Let them feel your peace even in storms. Let them sense your fire without a word. Let your decisions whisper your discipline. Let your habits roar your vision. Because true energy isn't loud. It's unmistakable. It doesn't beg for attention. It commands it through alignment. And you're no longer just surviving. You're transmitting. You're expanding. You're becoming. Let every step prove it. Let every breath embody it. Let every day confirm. You've mastered your energy, and now you lead with it. No more holding back. No more asking for permission. It's done. Go live it. Final message. Stop asking for energy. Start generating it. You're the source. The standard. The signal. The world doesn't shift because you speak louder. It shifts because you live truer. So upgrade your fuel. Protect your focus. Honor your craft. Build a legacy powered by consistency. Rooted in clarity. Driven by identity. You've heard the voice inside. Now follow it. You've felt the fire ignite. Now feed it. You've seen who you could be. Now, become it. And when they ask, what changed? Let them feel your presence. And know, you didn't find your energy. You forged it. This is your charge, your challenge, your calling. Don't waste another sunrise. Don't ignore another instinct. Don't shrink when it's time to surge. Master your energy, and everything else aligns. This is not the end. It's the ignition. Let's begin. No more delay. No more doubt. It's time to rise. Fully. Completely. Relentlessly. Charge forward. You've got this. Energy is the invisible architecture of your destiny. Every thought, every habit, every micro decision, they either build or break your internal voltage. You don't need to do more. You need to be more aligned, awake, activated. This is about elevation, not exhaustion. Intensity, not inconsistency. Depth, not distraction. Let your rituals match your vision. Let your identity upgrade your behaviors. Let your future self thank you, not just for dreaming, but for doing. This is it, the final spark, the ignition point. No turning back, only forward, only fire, only focus. Now go, burn with purpose, move with certainty, and live with unstoppable energy. Because this isn't just a message, it's a mirror. It reflects who you've been and reveals who you're becoming. The energy you seek, it's already inside you. Now rise and let the world feel what power truly is.